Hello and welcome to ACS Golf and today's review has been released on a Friday at 12 AM UK time, which can only mean one thing: it is a brand new current club, and it is this. It is the Wilson Dynapower Forged irons. Now, yes, these did come out in 2024, and yes, we are now in 2025. And if obviously you've been watching YouTube or you've been looking out on Instagram, etc., you'll know that Wilson are about to release a new Dynapower model. So they're about to place the drivers or place the irons in this Dynapower range. However, with the Forged, is they don't tend to replace it until a year later. So Dynapower came out in 2023, and then they sort of had the D9 Forged that kept on going for like another good year, really. And then they brought out the Dynapower Forged a year later. And I'm assuming it's going to be the same thing in this situation. They're going to have this new Dynapower range. I don't know if they're going to call it Dynapower 2. And then they'll bring out the Forged a year later. So this should still be running into 2025. Well, it is at the moment, and so I can imagine it's going to be around the whole year. But do not hold me to that. I do not work for Wilson, so who knows what they're thinking of. But I think this will probably still be the model for the rest of this year. Either way, I'm reviewing a great club, and currently it is the model, so the review is being released on the right day for ACS Golf. And yes, now let's move on to why I'm reviewing this iron. So for me, I've wanted to review this iron for a while, to be fair. I keep on switching out my irons, so I can't really play off, a handicap, but the idea of this channel is if it works for me, it works for you, that's why I look at brand new clubs, second-hand clubs, etc. I keep on going from sort of players distance irons because I need a little bit more distance, Rugby has meant that I'm not the quickest swingers out there. I'm trying to bring up my swing speed at the moment, but I think it's a little bit stiff from years and years of taking absolutely battering on the rugby field. And so I want that distance, like a player's distance iron. And generally with a player's distance iron is where you get a little bit more forgiveness, which I think everyone in this world needs. Um, but the problem with game improvement irons are a little bit chunky. You can't necessarily shape them the way you want to shape them. They're really strong lofted, so maybe they go too far, don't quite get the stopping distance, especially when you're playing over here in the UK, when in the summer, especially down south, it can get really dry and then everything becomes really rock solid. And then unfortunately the ball can hit the green and just roll off it. So I definitely want this player's distance iron, and I keep on going for them and then swapping out to game improvement because I haven't quite found the one I want. And then, because game improvement's safe, I know exactly what it is. It doesn't really matter what game improvement iron it is. I normally use the JPX lineup. So, JPX 91 Hot Metal Pro was the last game improvement iron I used. And so, yeah, because I know exactly what I'm going to get. I know it's going to give me good distance and good forgiveness. I really want to get a really solid players distance iron in the bag this year, and this is why I've been testing a few recently. I've tested Cobra Forged Tech, which has just been replaced with the older model. That review's out on the channel, so check that out. I've currently got a players distance iron in the bag. I'm not telling you what that is because I think that might be the one that stays in there. So that will be all revealed in a couple of months when I do what's in my bag for this coming season. If it does stay in there, probably release a review of the club for that. But anyway, at the moment that's in there. But this is definitely an option for me. And I really wanted to pick it up because I've heard great things. They look good. You know, love Wilson as a brand. I think they're producing some really good stuff at the moment. And they're affordable. They're not going to cost a bomb. And even their second-hand market, we'll have a look in the second-hand market for this because they have been out for over a year now. You're not breaking a bank to get them. It's not like a P790, which, if you're thinking of players distance iron, that is sort of the goat. That is that's the iron you think of. They hold their value. I mean, the 2017 models are ridiculously priced in the second-hand market. So it's a really good option potentially for me, to give me that distance, to give me that workability, the feel. Last year, one thing about the JPX is, you know, felt lovely, but they just didn't have that forged feeling that I've been playing over the years. When I played the MP20 MMCs, played the MP18 MMCs, a lot of Mizuno clubs in my bag recently. Those aren't Mizunos that's in my bag over there at the moment, by the way. I'm definitely not going to be playing Mizuno irons this year, just because I fancy it's not something different, even though they are amazing. Probably catch me in the summer going, these are my new Mizuno irons, but no. So I just want something with that forged feel, the workability, the stopping power as well on the greens, but then still want a pretty good level of forgiveness, to be honest, because if you're new to my channel, you're about to see probably quite a weird swing, or some might say horrendous swing, when we get down to range to test figures of these. If you're not new to my channel, you've seen my swing, you know, as much as it has worked for me, I'm not going to be hitting the middle of the face every single time. So there. So that is the main reason I picked it up. And also, because of the price of these potentially could be an absolute bargain for you guys watching as well. So, as always, what we're going to do, that was a very long-winded beginning of the video. Normally only lasts about 2-3 minutes. That's maybe gone on for 6. But anyway, apologies for that. It's going to be a long video again. It's always a good sign. If you ever see me doing a long review of a club, it normally means that I like them. If it's a short review, it normally means they're rubbish. To save yourself watching it for 10 minutes. But anyway, so I'm just telling you to turn off my channel there. Probably not the smartest thing I've ever said in my life. But anyway, moving on. So as always with all reviews, what we're going to do is we're going to have a closer look at this club. We're going to come back in here, go through all the technology that's in it. Then we're going to get down to the range. I'm going to throw some figures at you. I've actually got, so the 5's in my hand here. So I took down the 5, the 7 and the 9 iron. So I'm going to throw you the figures of all of them. Then we're going to come back here, go through the ACS Golf Scout, and I'm going to give you my overall thoughts about this club. And also, I'll give you the ACS Golf Scout for D7 Forged. You know, those were one of the first I ever reviewed for the channel. I'll just compare the two at the end as well, just give you an idea of my thoughts about how designs have progressed, you know, over the years. So there you go. All right, without further ado, let's have a look at the 5 iron and the 9 iron, because there's slight differences between those two irons. All right, see you in a bit. So there you go. Good looking set of irons, aren't they? And if you notice something, you know, difference between the 5 and the 9 iron. Obviously one's a 5 iron, one's a 9 iron, so the 5 iron's definitely a little bit more chunkier, more offset. However, there's one glaring difference between them. Power holes on the bottom of the 5 iron and no power holes on the bottom of the 9 iron. And that's the same with all the, well, basically the scoring irons for this set. So 8 all the way down to gap wedge, no power hole, 7 all the way up to 3 iron, power hole. We'll get into the locks later. So, you know, the idea of that technology there is to help with forgiveness on low face hits. While this is all about control, and that's why they don't put it in there. You want the feel, you want the maximum ability of control, get the spin, etc. That's why it's not in the scoring iron. Now, going into all the technology that is in this club. So, let's read the spiel off Wilson's website. So, discover the Wilson Dynapower Forged irons, elevate your game. Step up golfing experience with the Wilson Dynapower Forged irons designed to honour Wilson's remarkable legacy while utilising advanced AI technology. AI is everywhere, as you'd expect nowadays. These exceptional irons are perfect for players who seek to enhance their power, achieve faster ball speed, and maximise distance on every swing. That's what game improvement irons are for, aren't they? I don't really understand, but you know, workability, etc. with these type of irons. But anyway, that's what they said. Crafted from premium forged 8620 carbon steel, they provide an unrivaled combination of performance and a soft, responsive feel that every golfer will appreciate. Thanks to the innovative power hole construction in the 4 to 7 irons, there is a 3 iron, but we'll discuss that in a second, alongside a low centre of gravity, so CG, and a higher moment of inertia, so MOI, so forgiveness, obviously stopping the face twisting from this hit. These game-changing irons promote quicker and longer shots with elevated launch angles, enjoying remarkable stopping power and generous forgiveness even when your contact isn't perfect. It's not, for me, they're sort of pointing out the wrong things, and for me they're pointing out game improvement irons, and which yes, but they should be saying in a smaller package. Still ultimate control, ultimate feel. And, if you just want complete distance, go and get yourself a set of Wilson Dynapower, or Dynapower. I forgot the name of them now. Game Improvement irons. Go and get yourself some Dark Speed irons and Cobra, strong loft, jack. I mean, they can just go for miles. So yeah, but I mean, they do control. Do say about soft responsive feel a bit later on in that, but it's a bit of a weird one. Anyway, key features of the Dynapower Forged iron. So variable face thickness, designed with cutting-edge AI technology. These irons optimize ball speed across the entire face, making them among the most forgiving distance irons Wilson has ever created. I think they're just taking the spill of the Wilson Dynapower irons, to be fair, and sticking it on it. So new power hole design, the Dynapower 4 series incorporates a revolutionary power hole construction for 7.9s only, which enhance face flexion for such improved performance on every shot, and then again low center of gravity and high ROI. Get the distance you crave without compromising on forgiveness. The combination of lower CG and weight distribution towards the toe results in fast forgiving and high launching shots. Where's my control? Where's my spin? Where's my sort of place distance iron? Feel, if you want to shape it left and right, you can do it. It's just no mention of that at all, which I found really weird. So specifications, like I said, this is 3 to gap wedge. This 3 iron you can only get right-handed. Unfortunately, that is 19 degrees with an offset of 0.16. 4 to gap wedge, you can get left hand as well. 4 iron is 21.5 degrees, 5 iron is 24.5 degrees, 6 iron is 27.5 degrees, 7 iron is 30.5 degrees, 8 iron is 34.5 degrees, 9 iron is 39 degrees, pitch wedge 44 degrees, and gap wedge is 49 degrees. So not horrendously jacked up. Obviously, stronger than your sort of average irons. If you're looking at players' irons, pitch wedge, for example, will be about 46. So they're not horrendously jacked, which is quite good. That's the last thing you want from players' distance iron, is something so jacked, because the moment it is jacked, then you're going to start losing spin, and you want the spin to hold the green. Yes, game improvement irons, they really are extremely strong lofted. And the idea they've got so much mass in their head clubs that it still helps get the ball in the air, and then that's what stops the ball on the green, is the stopping power. But obviously these clubs are a little bit smaller, you can't put as much weight in them. So you need to keep those lofts a little bit weaker to keep that spin rate up to stop on the green. And that's what you guys, looking at these irons and myself want. I want more traditional lofts. I don't want a 5 iron that's going to go the same distance as my 4 iron. Because I've got a traditional 4 iron or something like that. I don't want that. I want relatively traditional loft, so I've got full confidence it can hit the green and spin and stay on it. So there you go. Little bit thing about the offset as well. There is a 0.1 offset from 7 iron all the way up. To 4 iron, which is maxed out. Well, sorry, 3 iron that's maxed out at 1.66. Each one increases going up. So there is a little bit of offset on these clubs. We'll get into how that affected it at the end. So there you go. And obviously with Wilson, the standard stuff is KBS shaft, which are great, so you can't really complain about them. All right, now let's get down to the range. I'm going to throw some figures at you with the 9 iron, 7 iron, which will be in there, and then the 9 iron, okay? And then we'll come back here for the ACS golf scale, compare it to the Wilson D7 forged irons, and my overall conclusions about these clubs. All right, see you back here in a bit.
So here I am down the range with a 9 iron, a 7 iron and a 5 iron. Now let's jump into the 9 iron first. So on average, a carry of 131 yards, total distance 131 yards, ball speed 101 miles per hour, launch angle 26 degrees and height 89 feet. Really happy with that. Very consistent. A lot of the shots were consistent as well. Really bad hit where it did drop below 100 miles per hour. Only went 128 yards. It was only 3 yards short. So really good numbers from this iron. And the fact that it's sticking to the green as well was, no rollout or maybe 1 or 2 yards. Really good performance there from it. Moving on to 7 iron, had a flat carry of 153 yards, 158 yards total distance, ball speed 111 miles per hour, launch angle 20 and height 76 feet. Again, really happy with that. 5 yards rollout for this type of club. Spot on. Again, very consistent numbers all around the 158 mark, 159 mark. Lowest on the day, which really was a low hit on the face, and it came out a lot lower. Still went 154 yards with a carry of 149. So really pleased with that. Moving on to the 5 iron, on average I had a carry of 171 yards, total distance 182 yards, ball speed 120 miles per hour, launch angle 18 and height 68 feet. Happy with it again. I will say it did feel like it came out a lot lower than maybe I'd expect. Or, hopefully I was expecting a little bit more higher ball flight. Definitely like the 9 iron, but it did come out a little bit lower. When I really went for it, I did manage to get, the total distance up to 190 yards. So happy with that. 10, 11 yards carry, roll out with a 9 iron, with a 5 iron, sorry. Not brilliant, but not the end of the world. Overall some really good numbers. Table with the numbers in it for you guys to look at. Really impressive numbers, really. This is winter still. It's still damp. It's still wet out there. So the ball's not going to be travelling as far as I was doing this test in the middle of the summer. I will say I was swinging quite well on the day, and I was swinging a bit faster than I normally would, because it was a little bit warmer, well, milder, definitely not warmer, but still, really impressive. 5 iron for this type of club would expect 180 total distance, got it. 7 iron would expect 160, just short of it. 9 iron would expect 135, just short of it. Really good numbers, really good stopping distance as well for the 9, 7 iron. 5 iron did come out a little bit low, as I mentioned, so that was a little bit disappointing, but still not the end of the world. Consistency wise with all the clubs are really great, apart from maybe that 5 iron, but obviously it is a longer club, so you can expect it maybe not be as consistent, but overall really good performance from these clubs.
So there you go, some really decent results with these clubs. Exactly really where I want these type of irons to be going, to be fair. Any longer than that would be too long. Any shorter I'd be saying, well, hold on, they're not going far enough. The 9 iron on average, 171 carry, not great carry to be fair, total distance 182, good ball speed 120 miles per hour. The 7 iron, that was good, 153 total yards carry on average, 158 total yards, so only 5 yards of actual rollout there, which is perfect. For me, in this sort of iron play science, that's exactly what I would want. Only about 5 yards of rollout. Maybe would quite want, it to be 155 carry sort of thing, but really spot on, to be fair, with it. Even in the weather that we're playing with at the moment, it is winter, don't get me wrong, with a milder day at the range, it's still damp, it's still wet. So these irons probably aren't going as far as they would if I was hitting this in the middle of the summer. But I will say one thing, they do inspire confidence, because I was going for these. So that's why I was getting relatively my normal sort of numbers I'd expect in midsummer, to be fair, because I was going for them. It really did inspire confidence, which is great. And then the 9 iron, 131 yards, sorry, carry, 131 yards total distance. Yes, that is what I want from this type of iron. That is awesome. I want it to hit the green, and I want it to stick to the green, and that is exactly what this is doing. Yes, maybe it's a couple of yards shorter than I'd hoped, but even when I was getting up, because normally I'm sort of 9 iron around 135 for this type of iron, total distance, well, carry around 135, to be honest, coming up relatively the same. But longest one I managed to get was 134 yards carry, 133 yards. Sorry, 133 yards carry, total distance 134 yards. So good and consistent. And the 7 iron's consistent as well. The shortest on the day, which was low off the face, it did come out a bit lower. Total distance 154 yards. Average was 158, as I mentioned. Longest was 159. So consistent with these clubs, which is great. That's what you want from players' distance irons. 5 iron, the longest on the day, was that 190, which maybe I felt jumped off the face a little bit more. Something's gone up the average by 4 miles per hour. It's gone an extra 8 yards. It's carried an extra 9 yards. That's one thing I will say about these clubs is I did read, because every time I review a club, I always make sure I do check other reviews as well, because I like to get other opinions as well before I come to my own conclusions. Get all the facts. And a few people who tested these did notice that 1 out of every 100 shots, maybe one did come out really hot. Not the end of the world, but just be aware of that. If you hit 100 shots on the golf course and one comes out hot, you can do that just with any normal iron, really, because you finally hit the middle of the face if you're not hitting it that well. But just be aware it does have the potential to shoot out. But hey, overall, really happy with those numbers and exactly where I'd expect this type of iron to be. So really pleased with that. So now going on to the ACS golf scale. So remember, we've got distance, feel, looks, price, and forgiveness. 5 being the best, 1 being the worst. Now for me, distance-wise, I've given this a 3.5 out of 5. It is exactly where I would expect players' distance irons to be in my sort of, well, ratings. It's exactly what I expected to be. These did exactly what I wanted to do. They got to exact distance I wanted. They're spot on. 3.5 out of 5. They're never going to go as long as a game improvement irons, which is a lot bit more chunkier, which have stronger lofts, etc. But for this, in this category, players distance iron category, I definitely think they're right in it, and I think we'll struggle to find ones that are longer. One thing I'll mention as well is these are actually the same loft as the current P790s. One of the reviews I did look at, said this actually went the same distance as a P790, so they're definitely at the top end of this category when it comes down to distance. So yeah, 3.5 out of 5, very, very solid numbers. If you're looking for a player's distance iron, and you're really more worried about the distance over pretty much everything, and you don't want to go down the game improvement iron route, these definitely have enough distance for you. 3.5 out of 5, really, really impressed by that. Feel-wise, I was umming and ahhing about this. I nearly gave it a 4.5, but I actually changed before the video, and I've given it a 4. They are forged. They do feel really nice in the center of the hits. Off hits with these power holes, I'm not exactly 100% sure where the hit is, to be fair, on the face, which is a bit annoying. Players distance irons, I'd like to know where if I'm missing it to the toe, I'm missing it to the heel. I did sort of struggle to get that feel with them, but generally out in the middle, they felt lovely, they felt relatively soft, they felt powerful as well. So 4 out of 5, definitely a nice forged feeling. But don't expect these to be butt soft, because they're not. And of course they're not. They're players distance irons. They sort of cavity back. You're not going to make them. They're not going to be super, super, super soft like a blade. But 4 out of 5, really nice feeling irons. I could definitely game these 100% just down to the feel themselves. Moving on to the looks. So looks, I've given it a 4 out of 5. Now, this has actually nothing to do with the power holes. I know when I previously reviewed Wilson stuff, I've always said I'm not a huge fan of these. If they're sitting at the top of the bag, to see them. But it's not that. It's, number one, maybe I think it's a bit too rounded for my liking. I think it's really nice. I still think it's a gorgeous looking iron. It looks very, very smart. It really does. It looks a premium iron. It's exactly what Wilson wants from it. Oh, nice little reflection there on the Wilson stuff there. But it's just caught my eye. I thought there was a hole in it then. So they're lovely looking irons. But for me, I feel like maybe they're a little bit too shiny, they're a little bit too rounded, and they give that appearance of being bigger than they actually are, which is great. Like I mentioned, at the range, I thought I could really go for it. A little bit milder. Still not summer temperatures or spring temperatures, or autumn temperatures, but it's a little bit milder in the UK when I tested these. Well, mild for winter anyway. I just felt I could really go for it. I was really going for it. I had confidence in the club because they just look a little bit bigger than they actually are. So if I compare them to the Forged Tech iron that I've got here, which is a hollow construction, but again in the player's distance category, there's the 7 iron, to be fair, so it's going to be a little bit smaller, but they're relatively similar size. They are. The game improvement, sorry, the player's distance irons I have in the bag, again, I look at them and go, God, they're so much more smaller than that. I put them side by side each other. I'm like, actually, they look pretty much exactly the same size. It's just the finish, the way they've done it. I don't think they've rounded off the top as much as some of the other clubs do to sort of hide that side. Don't get me wrong, when you're looking down the 5 iron, you can't really see the back of it. They just appear a little bit bigger, which for me is a little bit more off-putting. I prefer my irons to be more compact, which these are, but they just look bigger. Don't know why. It might just be my eyesight. I might have just got into my head that these are bigger, and that's why I'm seeing them as bigger. But for that reason, I'm giving a 4 out of 5. And that little bit of offset as well. 4 out of 5. I think they're great looking irons, but I do think they're a little bit bigger. I think maybe the brush steel is not quite there. I'm never a fan of these. It's not metal, so it's all plastic insert, which I know with the old D7 irons, Forged irons especially, these did get battered very, very quickly. But But 4 out of 5, I think they're really good looking irons. I think they'll look really well in the bag, but something about them means I can't give them any height. I don't know, it's weird. It is weird. I think it's just me being a bit foolish. But anyway, moving on to forgiveness, 3.5 out of 5 for me. You know, if you really did hit a bad hit, which I didn't actually do with a 719 to be fair, but if we look at a 5, you know, longer club, you know, average, as I said, was 182, 120 ball speed, you know, a bad hit suddenly dropped down to 176 total distance. Ball speed 160 miles per hour. So it is a little bit of a drop off there, as you'd expect from this type of iron. If you hit it poorly, you know, really poorly, you will be punished. These are still players' distance irons. They're not game improvement irons. But 3.5 out of 5, again, for this type of iron is spot on. The type of player who's looking at these type of irons, definitely enough forgiveness in this, 100%. Maybe even more forgiveness that you need. To be honest, really happy with that. So yeah, 3.5 out of 5 for this type of iron. That is a great performance. So yeah, very pleased with that. And especially, you know, like I said, with the 7.9, it's really consistent. You know, if I'm swinging full pelt, which I was doing, you know, I'm not going to be hitting the middle of that club face all the time. I'm going to be hitting around it, but I'm not going to be hitting the middle. And I'm still getting such consistent numbers from it. So, yeah, 3.5 out of 5. You know, definitely up there again with players' distance. Irons in that category for forgiveness, 100%. You know, so I tend to say one of the most forgiving. I think I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it. I could be wrong, but I'm going to say it. One of the most forgiving players' distance irons out on the market, I think. These Wilsons, I really do. They're great, absolutely great. Now on to price. So as I mentioned, these are new. Still, so you can buy them brand new, and you can also get one eBay because they've been out for more than a year. So brand new in the UK at the moment, 5 to pitching wedge, you can get this for £726. I've seen a 4 to pitching wedge actually for just under £700. On eBay, I've seen them going for new for a little bit cheaper than that. America, for some reason, the cheapest I can find was $999. I don't know why. I assume the price will drop over there in the US soon. I'm sure there's a lot of places around there you can find them cheaper. I just find that a little bit odd. It's that price. Normally, America's a little bit cheaper than over here when it comes down to golf clubs. Anyway, moving on to eBay, 5 to pitch and wedge. You're looking around £450 on eBay. So you're looking at what, $570, $580, which I think is a really good deal for these level of clubs. So I've given it 4.5 out of 5 for price. I really do. I think, you know, as I mentioned, if you're looking for this type of iron, you've got probably one of the best distances there. You know, they're up there with the P790s, which is definitely one of the best distance irons in this category. You know, they've got the feeling of it as well. They've got the looks as well. You know, none of these ratings are bad ratings. They're all very good for this type of iron. And the forgiveness is there as well. So yeah, 4.5 out of 5. The reason I haven't given it 5 out of 5 is because a lot of irons are now changing their models. It's that time of year. So Strixon, for example, you know, they're sort of, you know, players distance irons are suddenly coming a lot cheaper because they're, you know, they're clearing out old stock. You know, same with Taylor. So there's other irons out there at the moment that are dropping into this category of this price. But generally, Wilson produced some great stuff at a great price. So that's why it's 4.5 out of 5. That's the only reason why it hasn't got to 5. So there you go. Now, let's quickly compare these against the Wilson Star D7 Forged irons. One of the first reviews I ever did. So distance-wise, again, both 3.5 out of 5. They're both spot on. Feel, this one won it. 4 out of 5, while the Wilson D7 Forged was only 3.5 out of 5. Mainly because their power holes went all the way into your shooting irons there. So didn't quite enjoy that feel. Looks, prefer the looks of this. Giving it a 4 compared to 3.5 out of 5. Price, I think these are so good price for what they are. So I gave it 4.5. Wilson D Forged, because it's more of a second-hand markup, so I gave it a 4 out of 5. And forgiveness, they both got 3.5 out of 5. So overall, you can probably save yourself some money and get some Wilson D7 Forged or D7 or D9 Forged, to be fair, because they're all great iron. You know, if you're going down that Forged category from Wilson, you know, those player categories, we're looking at players distance irons, they are some great irons. They really, really are. A few things I will just quickly add before we finish this very, very long review. Workability-wise, yes, they are workable as much as the blade. No, as much as other players, you know, irons in this category, maybe not. I think the offset definitely did come a bit apparent with a 5 iron, you know, with the way I'm set up. You know, I tend to hit a draw anyway, but definitely felt like it overdrawed a little bit too much because it was a little bit too offset in my mind. You know, I really want everything just very neutral in this type of iron. And also, you know, 9 iron was nice and high. 7 iron, the ball flight was a little bit lower than I sort of expected. Even though the run out was still only 5 yards, and then the 5 iron was definitely a lot lower than I was expecting. To be fair, even though I know the loft a little bit stronger, it definitely came out a little bit lower, which you can combat by changing the shaft in it if you have that issue. But just be aware with that. I did think I was looking at the 5 iron, just going, you know, not bad launch, not bad height, but just came out a little bit too low, and so I think, you know, getting that quite a bit of roll on, that's a 10-yard roll on. But that is one thing that I would point out to be aware about this club. But overall, Wilson Dynapower Forged irons, they are beautiful. They are a great iron and a really, really good, affordable option in that player's distance category. Really good. If you've never thought about Wilson before, do give these a go. All the D7 Forged, all the D9 Forged, you know, really great irons there. Will they be going in my bag? Probably not, because I compared them to the irons I currently have in there, and I was getting the same, relatively same distance. More feel in that one, better ball flight in that one as well. They are immense. And I'll let you know what they are very soon. So remember to subscribe to the channel so you do not miss out on the review of those. Over there in my bag. Not those, in my bag over there. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this very, very long review of the Wilson Dynapower Forged irons. Quite a lot to say about them. You know, as I mentioned, if it's a long video, it means they are a good set of irons. If you enjoyed it, please do hit that subscription button and the bell icon so you do not miss out on any weekly ACS golf reviews. Also, give this video a like and do comment down below, you know, do you play Wilson irons? You know, if you have, you know, what are your thoughts about them? I'd love to know. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this video and made it to the end. And if you have, well, I'll see you soon for the next ACS golf video. Alright, see you then. Bye-bye.